But another thing that I had when I was younger was I had several of my friends that their family was very, very strong in their Cajun French, whereas Raymond Lemoyne was one of them.
Yeah.
He spoke a lot of French, so I learned some French with him in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. He got out of school in the 10th grade because working was more important to him than education. The young man's done well. He's worked at Angola for 20-something years, got a retirement pension, and so his hard work paid off for him. But speaking French, another one was Vijay Doza. Vijay Doza only spoke French for the longest. And on behalf of him, he told me one story one time in French. And when I'm telling you, this might have been in the 6th grade, 7th grade. He told me a story, and if I can break it out of my broken French as much as I can. He says, "Un fois il avait un maman écrivisse, un bébé écrivisse, capis marcher dans la bassin. Il bébé écrivisse dit, cours maman, cours, a dit, qu'au faire, j'ai besoin de cours. Il dit, garde. Garde a dit, c'est pas rien, c'est juste une vache. Mais c'est bon. Il commence à marcher encore. Et le bébé écrivisse dit, cours maman, cours. A dit, qu'au faire, nous avons besoin de cours. Il dit, garde. A dit, cours pas, c'est juste un chevreuil. C'est pas rien. Un petit bout de temps, tout à l'heure, le maman écrivisse dit, cours bébé, cours, c'est un counasse, il mange des écrivisses.
Yeah.
I know the Almighty being Jesus Christ, what he means to our family and who he is. But one year, it was probably 1969 or 70, Daddy, he owned a store, and he was a school board member, and he was a man of status because he went to the war and he came back and he had a couple of years of college, but he was like the civil defense director. So they gave him a little Geiger counter and all that. It was we play with it sometimes. We didn't know what we were getting radiation or not, but it would surely detect it. He got a phone call, and I was dressed, and I was early. Mom was a school teacher. He says, I got to go right now. Mom said, what you got to do? I said, the sheriff and the state troopers are down on the river. They said, there's something very unusual that happened in Fifth Ward. I said, Daddy, can I ride? Can I ride? And when he left there, he'd go to the store, and I would just walk to school because it's not far. He said, you ready? I said, I'm ready. So I jumped in the Jeep with him. He took off. We went. And it was T-Ban Lamortier's property. And they had some ribbon across the road. They didn't have ribbon in the day. They had just some people stopping. Yeah. The ribbon didn't come out till in the 90s.
Yeah.
So we went across the levee, and Daddy brought his little Geiger counter, and there was 5 calves that were dead, laying down. And he'd walk, and there were state troopers and all kind of people walking around. Some had masks on. We didn't have nothing. Daddy couldn't detect anything. And what had happened was, those calves, somebody said, and they were around a tree as well, or some were by the tree. Somebody said, oh, the lightning struck the tree, and it killed the calves. Well, we didn't have lightning that night. And every female organ was surgically removed, perfect. It was surgically cauterized.
I remember that.
They took the back end of it, they took the bag, the udder, they took the tongue, they took the eyes, and there was not a drop of blood. Everyone was taken out. And believe it or not, it was an alien abduction. The government knows that they made a deal with them years ago. You can test our people if you give us the information that we need. That's how we built stealth bombs. That's how we got fiber optics. That's why Area 51 is off limits. That's why Roswell, Georgia happens. That's why the questions to time travel is never answered, because there's secrets. There's a lot of secrets in our government. And some are healthy and some are very unhealthy. But when you witness that, it's just a story that sticks in your mind because I was there, I was present, and I saw it. And it's unexplainable. You can't go and cut out that much. We butcher cattle as a grocery store. They bleed like hell for an hour and a half. So just one of the things that would just...
That's a damn good story.
I remember that. See, because that was like almost a senior in high school. And Craig Borlow, that was his aunt or it was his uncle.
They had the property next to him.
Yeah. And we went, he and I must have heard it from you. And that evening, Craig says, come over and go look.
Yeah.
And we went over there, and they had a couple of lights on them, and they had a couple of people in white suits, and they were like, working on it at night when people couldn't see from the levee, and they wouldn't let us get near it. They said it's dangerous, but I didn't do that. And the guy, I never forget the guy. He says, "We're just preparing these bodies for transport."
Yeah.
And the guy, and Greg said, "What you think it is?" He says, "It's an alien encounter." And it happened on the levee by T-Vans.
And when was this? This was what year?
69,
69 or 70.
70.
More graduated in 73, and I was
You probably go in eighth grade.
7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
It actually happened. And so I guess that's where my fascination started about some of these things. And then so
I didn't know you were a UFOologist.
as a Christian, you know, there's things you try to parallel with and follow through, and you don't want to let some things sway you on what your Christian beliefs are, but you know, you just say, okay, what's wrong with a higher being or a smaller intelligence? Nobody compared to a God, but to be smart. I mean, hell, I was in a class of 29, and there were some very smart people, and there were some that were very dumb. So it's okay, and they, you know, and the smart ones move on, and the dumb ones dig sweet potatoes. But it's just how it goes.